Hey everyone from around the world, it's me, Jeremy Alexander Newsom, with my boy, Brian Masterson, and we are here with the IR4 podcast discussing today all things blockchain and cryptocurrency related. We've been going off and discussing other parts of the fourth industrial revolution, aka IR4, and we're now circling back, coming back to crypto world. It's going to be a long podcast. You're going to really enjoy it, a lot of details. Here's what I'm going to say. If you want to truly make money in this space, if you're interested in this space, if you want to be a serious investor in this space, watch the entire thing, right? Spend a little bit of time. We're spending time making it. We're going to spend more hours in post-edit. We're going to spend more hours promoting it. Overall, at least 20 hours is going to go into this particular episode. So spend at least an hour, watch it all, learn, create some brain waves. Let's dive in. All right, Brian, so today we're discussing just kind of the general, what's been going on the last 3 weeks. We had a discussion before we went to LA when we were in the car, right? And we were like, what's going on? And there's blood in the streets, and it's been worse since then.
It's been worse.
Let's talk blockchain. Let's talk the Senate meeting that happened today.
February 6th.
Today's February 6th, 2018. Let's chat about the last few weeks. What's going on?
Chairman Clayton from the SEC and the CTFC chairman went into Congress today and had some fairly broad but positive news for the crypto world. I think it's exactly what needed to happen here, but I would like to make 1 point.
Okay.
2 points. One, a lot of opportunity in chaos. Old Chinese proverb. Remember that one?
Yes. Warren Buffett's very similar. When there's blood in the streets and people are greedy, it's time to be, or when people are fearful, it's time to be greedy.
So, that's something you need to take in consideration here. If your barista at Starbucks is telling you to buy a certain cryptocurrency, I don't think I would be buying that cryptocurrency.
Correct.
I've seen a lot of that from December until now. Is everyone like? I was posting on my social media outlets back 3 years ago about Bitcoin, and people were like, "You are a moron.
Yep.
You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about." And I developed a deep appreciation for the underlying technology, which I've said countless of times. So I've always had faith in it, and I still do.
Sure.
But when it becomes this fad, when people who are asking me, or excuse me, advising me as to what I should be buying, and they don't know I'm in Bitcoin, they're just like, "Hey, have you heard of Bitcoin? How about Ripple, man?
Yeah.
You need to get in Ripple." I'm like,
it was a fun ride.
You realize I know probably 90% more than you. I don't say this to them. I'm just thinking in my head because I want to hear. People are so uneducated, and it's a very trendy type of investment, I think, investment technique that's going on. I don't know, it's not a technique. It's a trendy, what would you call it? You're the trader.
Well, that's the challenge. So the challenge is that it's what's referred to as hysteria of the market. It's a hysteria market, and we're going to pull up a chart in just a little bit. I'm going to kind of show you some of this. The very fascinating thing is right now, the amount of emails that I have gotten, the amount of text messages I've gotten about trading Bitcoin is like zero. A month and a half ago, I got 417 a day. Why is that? Why does everyone want to buy at the absolute highest? And that's because a very, very intrinsic, real fear, the fear of missing out.
The fear of missing out.
It's referred to as FOMO in the
I think that goes beyond, and that goes beyond Bitcoin. It goes beyond Bitcoin.
No, it goes beyond everything.
Because
stock market,
and I'm not.
Doesn't matter.
I don't want to get philosophical here.
Bring it. Bring on the philosophical.
But I do. And maybe there will be a philosophical and psychological component in this. But us as humans, we are an organism that latches onto one another. We grow as one big organism, much like that of the world. We're an animal. Think about, we came from tribes. We hunted in tribes, right? So throughout the evolutionary, we haven't lost that in our DNA, you know. So when the populace is moving in one direction, naturally you're gonna feel pulled in that direction, unless you do analytical data work.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that. That's the herd mentality. The herd mentality is when all the tribe is going some way. I don't want to be left by myself, because by myself I can't hunt and I can't feed myself, right? So that they want to go where everyone else is going, like the sheeple, or whatever the term you like to use, the word sheeple. Lemons, not lemons. What's the
Lemonade?
No, the furry animal that jumps off the cliff. Lemmings. What I say, lemons?
I don't know. I don't know lemmings.
You've never heard of lemmings?
No.
Pull up a picture.
Okay, well, lemmings are. We'll put up in just a second.
Okay.
But anyway, that's the term. Lemmings will follow each other off of a cliff.
What is that? It's this seismographic scale. What, I forget the name of it, and I apologize. We're gonna have to look this up. But it tracks a certain type of energy. I don't know what it tracks, but like I think it's MIT technology. And when something very seismic is going to happen in the world, for example, 9/11.
Okay.
There's tick marks on this. Everything's very status quo, but when something big's up behind it, there's a tick mark.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Man, it is fascinating.
No clue.
I'll try to look it up.
Okay. Well,
we're talking here.
Yeah. Well, let me pull up this chart really quick then.
Well, before you get there,
okay.
We don't. I mean, you go if you guys go to WallStreetCheatSheet.com. Have you seen this before?
That's what I was going to pull up. The exact one.
I didn't even know that.
Let
We
me
should have
do it real
talked
quick.
more before we got on camera. But we've been running around doing big Bitcoin business.
Yeah, let me pull this up really quick. Give me 1 second. All right, so I know you've seen this already. This is on the IR4 podcast page. We're going to talk about that in just a second for you listeners, how you can get more involved and how you can support the IR4 podcast. But this is this is what you're talking about, the euphoria, just the elation stage that people have. It's called euphoria. What this is the actual Bitcoin chart overlaying exactly the chart that you pulled up earlier. Was the Wall Street, but look how that is spot on. That's
similar.
scary similar. And when I talked about bubbles, remember I've studied bubbles. This is not what is quote unquote a bubble, but this is what's called the hyperextension of price action. When you start getting this slope and people just go wigging out, most people buy, somewhere up in the thrill or belief when everyone becomes the expert, and the euphoria is when they tell their dad to buy the stuff at Christmas,
right.
And then. So I think we could have a little bit lower to go. We're not necessarily the exact bottom. We might go a little lower for sure. But in that phase, that's going to be that's in the anger and the depression phase. That's when we're going to do a lot of nothing. It's going to be just 5 months of nothing.
So how long does that last?
Great question. So it depends on the instrument. So TD Ameritrade. I'm just going to pull up a really quick TD Ameritrade chart. You've heard of them, right? TD Ameritrade. They're the broker. And what I'm going to pull up is a monthly time frame really quick. So each one of these is going to represent a month. And I'm going to pull up this. So this, again, what was interesting about blockchain and cryptocurrencies is the speed of expansion and the speed of that exponential curve of technology. Right. So this is back in 2000 that we're dealing with right here. And this is the tech bubble. This is when brokers are coming out. The internet was becoming big. TD Ameritrade, what? You can trade stocks online? How crazy. And it got, what is this technology, this internet? I can buy and sell stuff online? And people went bananas. So this thing, you're making fun of this, the rate at which Bitcoin grew, but this was a 10x. 10x. It went from 5 to 50 in like a year and a half. So it went up, and then just came crashing right back down. But then this thing traded sideways for about 2 years, and eventually has recovered its entire movement, almost its entire movement. Hasn't even quite gotten back to the top yet. That is 19 years. Now, yeah, a long time, but that is a older, bigger business model. And so with Bitcoin in this exact phase we're in now, it's my interpretation that we're probably going to last on here about a year or two max before we start seeing and regaining our $20,000 high. Again, it's a potential. When we sat down and we're driving out of a Panera and we saw, buy Bitcoin, let me teach you how, with a phone number. I was like, this is the top. Like, this is...
No way, you saw that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where?
In Old Hickory.
You're kidding.
No, it was like a phone number with a thing in the ground.
It was one of those?
Yes! Phone number and everything. Like, let me teach you how to
we buy old homes?
Yeah, same.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, this is it. This is the top. And I didn't liquidate all my positions or anything. Probably should have hindsight, but it's okay. I don't mind holding. But anyway, that's kind of the phase of the market I think that we're in this particular section. And it's my belief as an analyst, as a chart, everything has causality. There's reasons and there's terminologies and there's terminations of movements and prices. Studying this is what you should be doing for those who are out there. If you are not looking over these charts and poring over this information, looking at data, looking at all the other times that Bitcoin has crashed, or for that matter, any other stock. I have some fascinating stuff to share with you later today. Oh my gosh, it's going to blow your mind. But you got to be pouring into this. Don't do it at the very top, because then it's too late. Do it when it's boring. The best investments you'll likely make in your entire life, my friends, is when it feels uncomfortable, when the timing is not right, when all the signals are not laid out in front of the table. You're going to have to do some due diligence, do some research, find some stuff, make some informed decisions, and all of the signals won't be there. You'll be early to the crowd. Those are usually the best investments.
So I'm looking at this chart.
Okay.
You know, it is a monthly chart, right? So I see...
this one's a daily. This one's a daily chart.
Okay, because I'm looking at the bottom here. I'm seeing June, July, August, September.
Yep. So that's a month. That's a whole month. Yeah.
Those are month.
Exactly. Yep.
Daily. Okay.
You got it.
But still, I see the March anger phase, right? And then we're how far are we? So that little line right there, the vertical grid line, will be April, May, June, July. So we're looking at maybe July we start coming out of this.
Approximately, yeah, approximately. And obviously nothing's exact, but this is very, very, very close. And yeah, this is a fantastic image, fantastic graph. By the way, the place that you can access this is on our IR4 patron page. The reason that we sent this to you today, entirely free episode, we want you all to be supporting members of IR4 podcast, become patrons, and help us ask questions and answer questions to people that we don't know are there yet. Give us comments, give us feedback, tell us where we should start peering into, poking into, investigating, researching. Give us your feedback. It's $5 a month. My friends, I spent more of that in gas just to get here. Very doable. Every single month, we're going to put out great content, great interviews, people who are leading their sector and information. And of course, we're also going to be looking at cryptocurrencies. We're going to be looking at other investment opportunities. There's going to be phenomenal opportunities down the line for you to take that $5 investment and get it back tenfold.
Yeah, and the donations and the proceeds go to bringing in industry experts.
Yeah,
we just had one last week with
Mark Anthony on
drones. Fantastic podcast. Yeah. And we don't get too technical with it. There is
not yet. In the future, though.
In the future,
when we're able to carve out the time, that nice 3 hour where we could just dive deep.
Oh man,
woo, I'm so pumped for that.
That'll be
because every time I do this, dude, I learn so much.
Right.
I learn so much.
So yeah, those proceeds, if you donate and become a patron, we're going to be bringing in industry leaders. I mean, we had the CEO of Dash on there. We've had to pull a lot of personal strings. But with those proceeds, it helps out a lot.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Let's hop into our next section. So that's just an overview of the IR4 podcast. Thanks for tuning in, for listening, to watching this. We want to continue to grow our minds. The best part about this whole thing is we're learning copious amounts of information together just doing this. You all have been learning phenomenal information. Some of you have already gotten that second comma. Had a millionaire from some of the cryptos, right? Because we've been putting this out for a while. It's been going on a bit. So anyway, thanks so much everyone for tuning in. A lot of stuff happening just in the overall financial markets recently. Cryptocurrencies crashing. You're talking. I'm not a
big stock guy, right? That's your expertise.
That's my expertise.
But I'm not. I mean, I will monitor, some stocks, but like looking at the Dow, and what I mean, it's been taking a big old
poop
the past few days, and people are like, it's really weird when I have my own opinion on media and whatnot, but every cryptocurrency and blockchain gets not so much blockchain, but cryptocurrency gets a bad rap.
They get a bad rap. We're gonna talk. There's so many things I can talk to you about this, but we're going to bring up a few things. I have it on my screen. This is one of the few times I record my actual charts. Usually they're there, but you guys are going to get to see the ins and outs. Here's simple math. The higher something's going to go, the bigger the drops become, right? Number-wise. So, for example, with Bitcoin being up at 20,000, a $1,000 point move was frequently, pretty frequent.
Sure.
Right? Well, the Dow Jones was at 26,000. To put that in perspective, so, right? I mean, you can't buy a Dow Jones stock. You can't own part of the Dow.
Yeah.
There are ways to trade it, and I won't necessarily get into that right now. But the Dow Jones itself is a composite of 30 companies. So you take all those 30 companies, you add them all together and divide by 30, more or less. You're going to come up with the heartbeat of the economy. So the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 are usually known as, okay, if they're doing well, the U.S. economy is doing well.
Yep.
But I mean, when the Dow Jones is at 27,000, you know, you have a 3 to 4% pullback, which is a very healthy, very okay. Hey, everything is fine. That's 1,000 points. That's what we got 2 days ago. And there were some very, very obvious signals that you'd be able to clue into that there's something coming. I mean, so let me just give you an example of this.
So this necessarily is not a holy shit moment.
No. It's going to be a while before we have one of those. But this is, again, a weekly chart on the Dow. And again, I know you don't look at charts that much. Well, you're getting better at it, though. I mean, come on, dude. Look at this. Look at this. Is that comical to you or what?
Yeah.
Straight up. It's almost going straight up. And then I posted this on my personal Facebook page. This is a chart of Boeing. Boeing.
Why Boeing?
Not Bitcoin, Boeing. Well, I mean, Trump and president, you know, war.
Sure.
Aerospace and defense, things like that. But look at this chart. I mean, when I see this is part of the Dow, Boeing is. And, I mean, who in their right mind would buy there? Answer, a lot of people. I posted this chart, and everyone's like, it's going to go higher. I was like, oh,
no.
My God. No, it's definitely not going to go higher. I mean, it's up 2% today, but when it looked at this thing just cratered yesterday. And it's going to get some interesting volatility. But you can look at and have an idea of when not to buy something. That's usually just as important in regards to this trade. Now, when you're talking about people giving a lot of slack for cryptocurrencies and their volatility, granted, that's absolutely true. But very few people are truly knowledgeable about something called stock options. So I know we talked a little bit about stock options on the plane to Florida, but there are insurance contracts. Remember I told you can buy and sell insurance contracts. So if you have, and all of you watching this probably know this, but if you have a home, you can buy home insurance. If you have a car, you can buy car insurance. You can buy insurance on your life. You can buy insurance on stocks. Well, these instruments, the insurance instruments, contracts, people make fun of how volatile cryptocurrencies are. These things move. Dude, the percentage moves yesterday and the last 2 days were in the tens of thousands of percent.
Insane.
Up and, you can't go down, but 100% loss or 10,000% gain. I mean, insane moves. 10,000% return in 2 days, and that's trading something like Boeing or the Dow Jones or the S&P 500. We're not talking about some random penny stock. I mean, you could be buying crazy, crazy amounts of this and just bukus of money everywhere you want. So the volatility is there under all underlying contracts. Now, this is a funny thing. Check this out. There's something out there in the world called the VIX. Now, the VIX is the volatility index. And you remember that the guy that was talking to
Met
you?
a guy, he said, short the VIX, short the VIX, short the VIX.
He said, short the VIX.
So, of course, I call you, I'm like, hey, should I short the VIX?
you did call me that. I said, no, why would you? That's the worst strategy in the world.
Don't short the VIX.
Doesn't even make sense. So what the VIX is, it's a mathematical formula for volatility in the market. Volatility being a cool, fancy word for how much panic and movement is going on in a short period of time. So this is literally a math formula. You are able to trade a math formula. If that makes any sense.
I'm a math guy. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's a math guy, but when people are making fun of the blockchain, saying, oh, or Bitcoin, this has no underlying value, what's the real value? What is the value of this? The VIX is literally...
It's a prediction.
You're betting on a prediction.
Right.
Of what's going to happen.
Right.
That's all it is. The whole underlying value of this is literally a math formula that says, oh, coin flip. Yep. And you can make insane money on this if you're not going short.
It's true gambling.
Now here, so you can buy a derivative on this, which is an option. So you can buy an insurance contract on something that's uninsurable because it's not buyable. So you can buy a derivative of a derivative which tracks a derivative's derivative. Tell me how that makes sense when people are afraid of buying cryptocurrency.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. Now, let me take one more step down the rabbit hole. This was the first creation. Today, this is happening right now. There is something XIV. I'm not going to get into all of this right now, but...
Oh my God. I just saw his chart and it's just insane.
Look at this. So...
Oh my gosh.
This is funny in a horrible way because this is an ETF that tracks an ETF, an exchange-traded fund. This is an instrument that was built so that you could buy shares to track a formula derivative of a derivative of a derivative. So there is absolutely 5 to 6 layers of no value whatsoever.
Is this the same thing as CDOs? somewhat
close. So CDOs, that's more mortgage, and that's really you're taking a bunch of mortgages and you're putting them together.
Yeah, but then again, you package them and repackage and repackage.
Yeah, but it makes sense because if you take a bunch of unrisky things and you put it together, they become a little bit less risky.
Right.
In theory, but not really, because if it's all unrisky. So, for example, you go, okay, so you're a lacrosse player. You'll get this. You have 5 really bad lacrosse players, and you go, to make them all better, let's add 5 more and make them a team, and then they'll be better.
Yeah.
Probably not, right? If there are a bunch of bad players, they're going to be bad players. They're going to be even worse together.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way, synergistically. But anyway, this is an ETF that tracks the inverse of the VIX. What I mean by that is you can make money going up as the VIX goes down, shorting the VIX.
Right.
This is why you don't do that. It's down 91% today. Today. From last night till today, it's down 91%. Meaning, if your mom and grandpa, which hopefully they didn't, I'm 100% sure they didn't, but there are average people in the world, look at 12 million traded today, that lost 91% of their investment today. And they're calling cryptos a scam. That was one of the whole points of this is just like, guys, there's a lot of instruments out there that people don't fully understand, and it's not just cryptos. This is on the NASDAQ exchange. The NASDAQ, as in Wall Street 101. This is an instrument that you could have bought, and granted, you could have made a lot of money on the upside. Okay, you could have made about 100% return over the last 7-8 months, but you could have lost it all in 24 hours.
Let's bring the layman into this conversation.
Good luck. This is a tough one, but come on, Mr. Layman.
Okay. You can teach people how to trade the stock market and everything. You can teach people how to trade crypto technology, cryptocurrencies.
Sure.
I'm a guy who here's what I'm trying to ask or say or have you maybe articulate as to what this is. But why in the hell would I go do that when I can go to the cryptocurrency market and learn how to trade over there? And I feel, this is my analysis, please correct me if I'm wrong or add your 2 cents. People are were more attracted to the hysterical craze of cryptocurrencies because it was almost cartoonish of the different cryptocurrencies out there. I mean, there was cryptocurrencies out there called, still is, the pot coin. I mean, just asinine coins. Asinine coins.
Ponzi coin. Don't forget about that one.
Ponzi coin.
It's literally called Ponzi coin. Are you a moron?
Like, what are you thinking?
Yes.
What are you thinking? ICOs. Oh, come on.
So here's the reason why. People had no premonition of what this is. Now, what I mean by that, if I go to someone and I tell them I'm a professional stock trader, like I trade equities for a living, that's what I do. They go, oh, stock market. They have a bad taste in their mouth. Their dads lost money. Their grandparents lost money. Hopefully not, but most people who trade the market actually lose money.
Because why? Because they're not educated.
Yeah, they don't know how. That's all it is, man. They don't properly know how to do it. There's a lot of money to be made. They just never took the time to actually. So the challenge with cryptocurrencies is there was no barrier to entry for a lot of people because their dad had never lost money trading cryptos.
And everything was just...
It was brand new.
Blue skies.
Yeah, blue skies.
Here we go.
It's 10,000% return. What? And they wanted to get on that.
And you didn't have to spend... You could spend $100 and get 100,000 of the coins if they're priced certain. And it's just like, oh my God, my $100 just became 5,000.
Yeah, and that's why penny stocks have always been popular in the stock market because you can buy a very, very, very cheap thing. But again, there's bad taste in people's mouths with penny stocks because of what's going to happen. This is now going to leave a bad taste in people's mouths with cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin.
Right.
You know, it potentially will go a little bit lower from where it is today. But
Amazon wasn't a huge stock. But I mean, but let's say let's look at when the .com or tech boom happened.
Okay.
They started small. Those companies' stocks started small, and they all boomed, and they all came back. But look where they're at now.
Absolutely, exactly. Amazon during the tech bubble.
That was 19 years, Jeremy.
Dude, Amazon during the tech bubble lost 95% of it.
We haven't seen that out of Bitcoin.
No, we have not. Bitcoin right now is down about 80%. But this is a chart of Amazon. And it went from $106 down to... Doesn't that look exactly like the chart, by the way, we just looked at? verbatim. I mean, giant bullish run, right? Huge run. You get some distribution up there, very obvious. What's that? Do you remember the name of that? Resistance?
That's a resistance
That's right,
line?
baby. There's your some support line right there. So it trades back. It acts old support, new resistance, just rolls back over.
Dead cat bounce.
Dead cat bounce.
Am I right?
That term, yeah, you're right. But that term.
Is it a bad term?
No, it's just a funny term.
Again, it is a funny term. That's what I said.
But it goes from 107 to $7. 566. What's the exact low of Amazon? 567. So it lost 94.4% of its whole value. So if you bought in 2000, you spent $100, you got hosed.
When did it retrace all the way back? 2000.
So it took it to get back to 100. Nope, not 2002. Probably I think 2008. 2008, it almost got back to 100. And guess what? That's probably when people bought again. 2008. Okay, we all know what happened there. 2008, 2007. It goes back down, and it doesn't break out until 2009, 2010. And that's when Amazon was about $100, $200 a share. And at the time, people were still saying Amazon doesn't make enough money, the company's not profitable, the PE ratio is too high to blah, 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 blah. The challenge is they offered a solution to people. They offered a logistical transport method from what I want to this, a.k.a. a physical blockchain.
Yes.
That's what Bitcoin was offering at the time. And people said, there's no value in it. They still say the PE ratio is too high.
Here's something scary.
Let's hear it.
You have to go back to where that was so I can
Okay.
point. I could be completely wrong, but I want your opinion on this. Okay.
Okay.
This is similar to a Bitcoin chart right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of charts recently, yeah.
Bitcoin took how many years did it take to go from here to here with Bitcoin? 2009 to 2000
well,
and
here's the funny thing: Bitcoin did that in months.
But if we looked from the beginning of Bitcoin all the way to here, that would take about
8 years, 7, 8 years.
Yeah, no, 9 years.
Yeah,
9 years, right?
Right.
8 to 9 years. Okay, so we just went 8 to 9 years. I'm trying to show something here. This happens. Let's say this does happen.
And this was also a 100x, by the way. So when Amazon IPO'd in '97, it was worth about $2, and then went up to $100 in 2 years.
Okay.
So when people are talking about astronomical returns, they're forgetting the Amazons of the world.
This is bigger than Bitcoin.
So yeah, exactly. So 100x. So it wasn't bigger than Bitcoin. Bitcoin was outrageous, but keep in mind, had you bought $100 worth of Amazon back in 1997.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're a millionaire.
What's it at now?
Okay, 1,400.
1,400.
Yeah, so you're a millionaire if you bought that in 1997. Netflix, if you put in $100 10 years ago, you'd have almost $250,000. So people are laughing about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, how much money you could have made. These opportunities exist everywhere. You just got to know how to find them. Now, most of our current listeners are that smart. They are these people who are digging into this and learning and looking at these charts. And hopefully over time, more and more people that watch this particular episode, they're going to start digging into and trying to figure out how you can take advantage of these moves. And the answer
is the podcast.
Yeah. Well, not only the podcast, but you're going to, you bring in other experts. That's the only way to learn something.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. That's the only way to learn something is you have to. So what I did when I wanted to go learn is like, I'm 20. I didn't know how the stock market worked. I want to go figure it out. I went to college, not the place to go to learn stuff. So I go somewhere else, start going on YouTube, books, paying for mentors, and I find all this information out there. When you search, you will find.
Oh, for sure.
Is the term, right? That's another Chinese proverb.
If you search, you will find. Change.
Change.
Anyways, let me refer back to the scale I was referring to. Our producer, Ashley, over behind the camera, who you guys don't get able to see. She is a beast at finding things. The Global Consciousness Project. That is what I was talking about earlier. And we'll throw something up on there. You guys can check it out. This monitors. It's a Princeton project, so you know it's legit.
It's from Princeton.
As we just knocked college.
Yeah. We just totally made fun of all colleges.
Check it out. Let us know. If you guys
think
think it's bullshit, let us know, and we'll not use it again. If you think it's an awesome tool, I thought it was pretty fascinating. I scratch surfaces everywhere. I try to be a pool that's 3 foot deep versus a well that's 30 foot deep, except for blockchain. I'll dive deep into that.
You do. Well, let's talk more about blockchain.
Yeah.
So I have a question. This got proposed to me, and I didn't exactly know how to answer this. I think I do, but the answer seems too easy. Let's say that there are 1,000 legitimate blockchains in the next 5 years.
1,000?
1,000 legitimate blockchains.
There's 1,500 cryptocurrencies.
And a lot of them are crap.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking is, will there need to be a new coin for every blockchain that gets created?
There's not right now. I mean, if you look at Ethereum, what did Ethereum allow for? Ethereum allowed for decentralized applications to be built on top
of it, right? So
it's not, you're not forking Ethereum,
right? No, you're not.
You're just building a decentralized application on Ethereum. Pretty easy analogy is you create a web browser,
okay,
and you can build, for example, Chrome.
Yeah,
that's a web browser / blockchain. It's not a blockchain. Comparing these two, right? And you can build apps on Chrome. You can build apps on Ethereum. So you can build decentralized applications on Ethereum.
Makes sense. So, I mean, let's say that Amazon wants to get into the blockchain. And they want to create a blockchain technology. They want to whatever distribute inside their particular logistics of whatever they're trying to do, like warehousing or shipping or personnel, and they want to put that on the blockchain. Would they need any type of token or coin that gets created in order to facilitate that? Or can they just use it on like an ERC 2022?
That's your ERC 20. But that's a good question. I think that you're going to see Fortune 500 companies hire individual developers or teams of developers, and they're going to build their own chain. They're going to build their own private chains, permission chains, public chains. And again, like, it's very easy to get into the weeds of this industry, but
which is fair. I mean, we can do that right now, I think.
Okay.
So I mean, because my question is,
but you need to make sure the foundational level of blockchain.
Yeah,
is what does it do, and it allows for the transfer of value.
Absolutely, you're gonna love this. I was walking through a program with some of my clients, and we were talking about banana coin.
Banana coin. Dude, it's insane.
So I was telling people, guys, this is how easy it is, and I'm dumb. This is how easy it is to go through and look and see what is this blockchain facilitating? What is it actually doing? So literally all they want to do is they're raising money to buy more land to grow more bananas. That's all they're trying to grow. I'm like, that's all they're trying to do. It's not. There's no blockchain.
That's illegal.
That's very illegal. It's like, guys, they're
illegal.
They're making it a coin, but they're selling it as a security because it is a security because they need money for a project to build something. Like, you can't do that. That cannot be done.
So this is actually maybe the highlighted pinnacle of this conversation today.
Oh,
I've kept this behind closed doors since we started the podcast.
No way!
I've been working on a project called Bitcoin Latina.
Oh, okay.
We've mentioned it on sidebar conversations, but Bitcoin Latina,
let me pull it up really quick,
has been a blockchain that it's a fork of Ethereum, right?
Yep. Is it bitcoinlatina.org?
Yep. Bitcoin Latina is a fork of Ethereum. Okay, so now the parameters in the Genesis block and in the blockchain actually is more, the blockchain is more accommodating for Latin American countries, meaning the energy resources aren't as highly needed as they would be if it was a traditional Ethereum chain. This is GPU mineable, and if you're familiar with blockchain, you know that mining either rests with GPUs or a lot of the time it's ASIC miners,
yep.
And that's more of a corporate institutionalized metric. With GPU miners, you can have at-home miners, which is cool. The wallet that has been built from our CTO is a stud. Allows for, it's a mineable wallet, so you can hold your wallets and click a button that says mine, and you can mine.
Oh wow,
the blockchain.
What?
But
that's wild.
This project was built by volunteers from a team all across, the world. So since it's being built by these volunteers, there's no reliance on selling a coin to. There's no reliance on selling a coin to build the project.
Right.
The blockchain's been built. It's been forked to Ethereum. It's here. It's ready. Everything's been built.
Right.
So there's no need to raise proceeds. What we're doing is airdropping the coin.
Yeah.
Across Latin American countries.
Yeah. So make sure to go get your coin, guys. Go to bitcoinlatina.org.
All you have to do is click on claim your coins, and then you'll be prompted for like an email and whatnot. And you'll get further instructions down the road.
So devil's advocate.
Yeah.
So what does it do?
What does it do? It does the same thing Ethereum does, but again for these Latin American countries. It is going to allow for the development of decentralization.
Okay. So, for example, let's say you live in Costa Rica and you want to build or create your own program or project or blockchain technology company, and you can use Bitcoin Latina as a decentralized, open platform base, so you can build everything on top of it.
Correct.
So you're more or less going out there and you're giving people, hey guys, here's and the best way I've often compared Ethereum to people is cement. It's something you can build upon.
To build, it's something. It's a tool to build something else with.
Right. And the cool part is, I tell people all the time, did you know you can make a lot of money with cement?
Yeah.
There are companies or multi-billion-dollar companies that are literally, they make cement. U.S. Concrete, for example.
I do have a sneaking suspicion within 5 to 10 years, some people won't even know. These young kids growing up won't even know what Ethereum is. It'll be another like ticker on the market space because it's going to be a back end thing. Like they're going to be
like Linux.
Yeah, something like that. They're going to be so focused on the front end user interface than what's the actual engine behind it. Like think of the internet.
Well, I mean, that's exactly right now. I mean, no one cares about the programming languages except for coders and.
Hey, what the hell's the? I mean, we don't talk. People don't talk about the internet. Hey, are you on the internet? No, it's all about Wi-Fi. The internet has become this underlying foundation.
Like a duh.
Yeah.
Duh, obviously.
Right.
Well, and the interesting part about blockchain that a lot of people are forgetting is it is more secure than the internet.
Correct.
The internet was a foundation that was built. So we're going back to this concrete methodology. Think about your house being built on a hay or a straw foundation or sand.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stable for a little while until something crazy comes down. I mean, the internet is prone to be hacked all the time. I mean, you have a hacking friend that could just whoop whatever information he wants right out of thin air.
Sure, yeah.
You know, and so this is. Do you think the blockchain can replace the internet?
No. So here's a good question, and this is why I think the cryptocurrencies have just been, free falling. Is because everyone's been so high and mighty on the fad of cryptocurrencies, like we were just discussing, right?
And the making of the money.
And it's like crypto kitties and all this crazy, just
that was
irrelevant.
That was a brilliant
irrelevant stuff. A banana coin, which is illegal, and there has been illegal fraudulent activity. Huge. People will take advantage of that.
You've been calling that out since day one, dude. I'm gonna back you up for that. Absolutely.
Huge.
Absolutely.
And again, we'll get back to the CT. I know we kind of tangent line, but we
come back.
We'll come back to the CTF CSEC hearing at Congress today. But will the blockchain replace the internet? I forgot what I was going to say now. I'm tangent line myself. It won't replace the internet. The internet allowed for the transfer of information. The blockchain allows for the transfer of value. The blockchain will help make the internet more efficient.
Okay.
So it's almost like creating a web browser that's that's decentralized. There's not one web browser where it's all localized into one data warehouse. The blockchain distributes all that. And the reason why this bubble or hyperbolic, whatever the hell you want to call it, why it's going down right now, is because no one wanted to focus on the solutions of blockchain.
No.
If you focus on bettering, and this is what Bitcoin Latina's main priority is let's make sure solutions are being built, created, and distributed to the people who need them the most.
You had people out there who were taking cryptocurrencies, buying it for $100, selling it for $200, and thinking they're on top of the world.
Not only that, you have people buying it, tweeting about it, who have a large audience, pumping it, and then selling all your cryptocurrencies and getting out. It's a classic pumping up schemes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fraudulent activity. There's 1,500 cryptocurrencies, and I would say roughly 50 of them provide some type of solution. But
50.
Wow. Provide some solution today. There may be another 50 or another 100
later down the road, but it's a very small number.
That have these things they need to be built, but no one's building it now.
Yeah. And that's a big takeaway, my friends, is when you're listening and you're talking about the blockchain, it's the solution, not the money that you can make with it. Just like stocks. If I'm buying a stock in a company that actually cares about their customers or their clients or their employees, granted, I can make money in and out of that stock, but if I'm buying it and I'm handing them money, which is not the way it works with cryptos specifically, but in a stock, I'm handing them money. They're using my money to then go build their interfaces because I care about you. I trust this company.
Now, I will say this. And this is going to I think this will blow your mind as well as the listeners.
Bring it.
The standard securities will start to be tokenized. So what I mean by that is instead of having and this probably will take a longer time than, this will probably be 7 to 10 years, but companies will start to distribute their securities on the blockchain.
Would they need a token?
Correct. So instead of trading their stock, you're going to be trading their token, if you will, security token.
No, you think
Why?
so?
Why would you not? It's more secure. It's a distributed ledger, which means you can track everything. You can't manipulate it. The only way you can manipulate is by the insider trading, which has always been there.
Yeah, no, it makes
You're
sense.
making the stock market more efficient by putting it on the blockchain. Efficiency.
Dude, that's mind blowing. I think you're right. I think it's entirely plausible. I mean, that's one of those things where you get your mind stretched. That's what I love about you. You've always stretched my mind a lot, and for this world, right? Just like what's possible, what's capable.
I think there's a pretty. I can tell you how I operate that way is because from an early age of being an entrepreneur, you always look at what is inefficient and how can you make it more efficient, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just by own personal, studying the Industrial Revolution and then learning about why the Federal Reserve was built.
Yeah.
I'm like, a private institution controls the flow of money to our government? What the hell? This doesn't make sense to me. There's inefficiencies here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I'm one guy. I'm not going to change the world. But how can I find a global solution or a communicative solution that can help enhance and make the system more efficient?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about replacing or disrupt. I mean, a little bit of disruption. I think disruption's healthy. But what can make where we're at now, how can we make this a better world, a better place, and so forth? So that's where I started discovering what blockchain was.
Right.
And it's here to stay. I don't care what you say. The CTF commissioner said the Innovation Genie, the technology genie is out of the bottle and we cannot put it back in, just like the internet. He said that in front of Congress today.
Yeah.
The regulators are saying, listen, it's here. It's here to stay. And we support it. And there is going to be regulatory things we're going to need to be putting in place.
Which is fine.
Great.
We've been calling for that for months. It needs to happen.
Absolutely.
Because that's going to protect investors.
Absolutely.
You got to be safe, folks. We don't want you to lose all this money and buying something
Investor
you don't want to buy.
education and protection. Absolutely. With all that being said, they are cracking down on fraudulent behavior and scammy type things. And that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Sure.
Because if you're acting from an ill place, why?
Right.
If you're trying to steal people's money, run away with it, I mean, why? Provide a solution that people want and sell it. But that doesn't really happen.
It's hard, dude.
It's hard. You're right. It's hard. It takes hard work. It takes hard work, and people are afraid to work. And that's some.
You know what's funny about thieveries? The overall
Theories?
thieveries.
Thieveries?
The stealing of
Thieveries.
things. Yeah.
What's interesting about
that takes a lot of work too, to do it well. Right? To do good.
I guess anything about that.
I mean, that people always laugh at like crooks or whatever, that they work so hard at coming up with systems that they go around and skirt rules. Why not just put all that energy to good?
Yeah, apply that energy for think of a better solution.
Because most criminals are some of the smartest people in the world. That's the thing is they go, oh, I want to use all this power to go do something malicious.
I also do think there is some bad players in the crypto space because
there's bad players in general everywhere.
Right, but the crypto space. Think about how the autonomous factor was really a huge component when all this was being built, keeping who you are private. I believe in privacy to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But if you're buying illicit drugs or whatever on the dark web and you're using cryptocurrencies to pay for it, which started with Bitcoin, but now there's so many other deep autonomous cryptocurrencies, and actually it's getting easier to trace Bitcoin and whatnot. I mean, that was one of the things why this whole but
that's okay. That was one of the uses.
Correct.
One of the uses.
But then you have good actors coming in. And you have these guys like Jeff Garzik and Charlie Lee who want to better humanity by providing the solution to the global populace. And it's happening right now.
And that's why Vitalik got so mad.
Yes, and I agree with Vitalik.
Yeah, when he was like, guys, you're being a bunch of ass clowns.
Yeah.
More or less. And step up and let's create some solutions for people. And it's not just about money and moon Lambos.
Correct.
Right?
Why
really.
Why do you need a Lambo? I don't get that. I've never been a gearhead, so I've never really been into cars.
A moon Lamborghini. Think about it.
A moon Lamborghini, yeah. A Lamborghini, you drive on the moon.
The funny thing is, I'm not really a car guy either. Some people are, some people aren't. It's just one of those things.
Who was telling? Was it our last podcast where the guy was telling us about the moon cars up there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Isn't that cool?
That's insane.
Well, that's cool. So, by the way, one of our next podcasts, once you guys are watching this one, we have a 3D printing specialist lined up. We're also going to be chatting with one of your buddies who's a pilot in the future. We're going to be discussing the Internet of Things.
And actually, we have a attorney who's been in this space since the beginning.
Can I get a name? Off camera, maybe? Okay.
You know who it is.
Do I?
Yeah. And he was with a big law firm here in Nashville and moved over to another nice and in-home legal counsel for...
When's that going to happen?
March 6th.
March, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
We had to book him in advance. Hot commodity.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah, that'd be fascinating discussion. And again, that's folks, if you want to learn more things, just go reach out to people who've already done what you want to do, whatever that might be. All right, that's one of the first steps, biggest takeaways from any podcast. Find people who do what you want to do, ask them questions, and then do what they did to get where you want to be. Big step, because that's gonna be a great discussion. I'm looking forward.
Yeah,
that's gonna be really, really cool.
A lot of insight.
Overall, from here, what's your thoughts regarding regulatory agencies? I mean, is the SEC, are they going to now really step in? Because from what I'm reading, they're like, guys, this is going to happen, but we're going to do it later.
I don't know if it's necessary later. I mean, it's funny because our both worlds and what we're experts in are starting to collide. Mm-hmm. Because obviously it's great when everything's rising.
Sure.
But when everything starts falling and, it's now some real analysis is starting to be put to play. And now we start merging the two. When it's not just some hype cycle and everyone's just like, bye. And now it's like, okay, now there's some strategic chart analysis. Yeah. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the events. And now I feel like we are getting started at our point where we are really can operate as a team. But
agreed.
I think the first thing that the CTFC and SEC are going to do is make sure that there's a stop to the fraudulent activity. That can happen through KYC/ML practices, which is know your customer anti-money laundering practices on different websites. If you're purchasing and if you look on I keep going back to it because I'm such a big fan for it. But Bitcoin Latina, huge on KYC/ML. Secondary exchanges, you look at Poloniex and Kraken, there is some type of KYC/ML integration there.
Absolutely.
But that is
going to get better.
Which is great, but that's going to be needed all over. There's some exchanges where you can just sign up, and it's just insane, man. So I think bringing those setting some best practices, understanding that. They're underfunded. I don't want to say they're underfunded, but the SEC and FTC do not have enough funds to be creating these very specialized enforcement groups. They do have subgroups that
they're working on it.
That are working on it, but they don't have the funds to go out and launch investigation after investigation.
No, because there's so many, man. Plus you have people in different countries. Which what's the SEC going to do about that? Nothing really.
There's whistleblower programs where you can go to the let's say you get screwed on one of these ICOs, or you have been, and your coins are gone. You gave money to someone and you never got your coins, or whatever it may be. If you suspect some suspicion,
you got this.
If you can suspect some suspicious activity, tongue twister. You can go to the SEC and say, "Hey, listen,
sure."
You guys might want to check these guys out, So there's tactics in place where it could be a community effort. If people are like, hey, this ICO and this project, and if they get like hundreds of people flooding their inbox, being like, hey, listen, this is a scam.
Yeah.
I mean, look at BitConnect.
That's a good point that you brought that up. Community, use people around you, go out, use friends. If you know something out there that shouldn't be out there, if you feel a certain way about one of these things, or fraudulent, or if there's one person that's always promoting bad ICOs,
sure,
or sending out links, they're like, hey, buy this, and they're all getting referrals. I mean, I can't do that as a stock professional. I can't go, hey, go buy Caterpillar, use a special link, and then go buy it through the broker, and then I get a kickback.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's very. You got to be very careful.
Yeah, just be careful, because what I can say from almost a decade of investing at this point is, if it is too good to be true, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think, and you have to ask the question, am I missing this? The answer is within your question, yes.
What do you mean when you say, am I?
If you have to ask, am I missing this? You've already missed it. If that has to come up. Because remember what I said earlier, is your best investments are the most uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Meaning, me and you, we're going and doing our research, we're pulling up Bitcoin, we're looking at it in 2014, 2015, and it's sub 1,000. And we're like, oh, okay, we're gonna make an investment. No signals pointed to yes.
Right.
Bitcoin 500. Well, I'll say no signals. Hard ones to find. You had to do a little bit of research. And it's like, yeah, this makes... I mean, at that point, if I wanted to send a Bitcoin to any person in the world, it was free, instantaneous, boop, it was no problem. I was like, how can you not see this?
Yeah.
And as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and scalable, more scalable...
Scalability is a huge...
Scalability was a big issue for Bitcoin.
Still is.
So let's talk about one particular coin going forward. What's a big dog in your arena? Take out the big ones. Take out the Lightcoin, the Ethereum, the Bitcoin. You mentioned 50 are providing some solutions. Let's figure out a no-name. Who's providing some solutions?
Well, obviously I'll start out with the big names just so we can get them out of there. But Dash, Litecoin, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Gold, maybe.
You're not a big Bitcoin Gold.
Nero's like the Ethereum of China.
EOS right here.
EOS is doing some big things. IOTA.
Well, tell me about EOS a little bit. Let's dive into that. What the heck do they do?
From my understanding, and again,
if you don't fully understand it, it's not good.
I get a lot. I don't fully understand anything. There's always room to learn more.
That's true. Fine, valid point.
You'll know everything when you know that you'll never know everything. I think that was a Drake lyric.
Yeah.
EOS, and I source a lot of my information from back channels, people who are involved with projects, or forums where people who are actually developing the technology are answering questions. Mm-hmm. If you're just going to different YouTube videos or marketing websites, you're going to get surface information. If you really want to know about the project, get in there, ask questions, be a part of the community. Telegram, great resource.
Telegram, yeah, you mentioned Telegram and Slack channels before. Yeah. How many replies have you gotten via email if you reach out to one of the...
Pretty good. If you know who to email. If you're just going to go to support, like support at whatever, especially these cryptocurrency, the poor customer support. It's one thing that needs to be...
That'll change. The more money that comes into that, I mean, that's everything, right?
Well, I mean, just look...
You have a bunch of programmers. They don't know anything about
It's pretty simple. Go to the team member page, and instead of contacting the CEO, look at some of the team members.
Yeah.
Send them a DM on Twitter or find them on LinkedIn. Connect with them. Hey, I'm interested in learning about your specific question.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
Boom. And that's it. And that's cool. And then you could develop a relationship with all these people in crypto, much like I have. Yeah. EOS is going to be, EOS is going to be more of a web browser, if you will, a browser for blockchain.
Okay.
Dan Larimer is awesome developer. He actually was a creator of Steam and BitShares.
Okay.
And BitShares.
Mm-hmm.
And so EOS also has support from Blockchain Capital,
mm-hmm.
Which is what we saw as one of the first VCs in this space who really they tokenized their fund.
Okay.
Which is interesting. You don't have granularity out of that, which means you can't be going and you can't direct to where your investment goes. You're investing into that group, and that group is determining where the capital is deployed.
Mm-hmm.
Cool concept. I think the whole funding aspect of this space of the traditional VC and family office space is for sure. Already is.
Sure.
You look at ICOs. That's another huge topic for the SEC was. Man, the ICOs, people just raised money because they had a pretty website, pretty white paper. Sometimes they had no team.
None. I've seen many.
And people just threw millions and millions of dollars at it, and guess what? It went to some wallet overseas and never seen again.
Never seen again. Speaking of EOS, again, so today's the 6th of February. It looks like a great buy as far as getting into access on the coins. We were discussing earlier about the stocks and on the blockchain. Riddle me this. So what happens if I exchange US dollars for, let's say, an EOS dollar? Does people on the team get my US dollars?
No, you say EOS dollar?
Yeah, so we're looking at the EOS dollar, exactly. So you can buy it on Bitfinex. Now, I own EOS. I will say this. full disclosure, I bought my EOS with Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Okay, so you can't purchase EOS with the US.
You can in Bitfinex.
Okay. Well, as far as the pairings go between US dollars, Bitfinex.
Right. I didn't buy it with US dollars. So I bought it through Kraken with my Ethereum and with my Bitcoin. But my question is, if someone does buy, let's say, Bitcoin with US dollars, where does that US dollars go? Does the team get it at all?
Seller, right? So market makers, you go, it can get very, very complicated, but Coinbase, it's almost like they're selling, like they have all their Bitcoin in a reserve, and when you go click on buy, you're not going through an actual exchange. Like that's GDAX,
sure,
where it shows up in your wallet. Like when you go purchase at Coinbase, that's why it takes 3 to 5 business days, because they clear your account. Okay, great. Yeah. Then they send you Bitcoin to that address, which is actually just represented on your wallet with Coinbase.
Right.
Not until you initiate send your Bitcoin from this wallet to this wallet does it actually move from Coinbase's account.
But that's the same with brokers right now. That's the same if I have Charles Schwab and I go buy Apple. You don't really have 100 shares of Apple.
It's not. It doesn't mean that there's fraudulent activity. I mean,
no, that's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is.
They can do that. That's called fractional reserve. Correct. Not banking, but that's called fractional reserve something. Banks do that all the time. I was like, you got $1,000 in your bank account. That $1,000 is not actually there. Correct. It's just a number on a screen. That's all money is, folks. Just numbers on a screen. It's your interpretation of what that money means to you.
Yep.
And so that's why I like this whole Bitcoin thing. Is it's a shakeup of currency. It makes people think like, what is money? What is currency? I like that.
Yeah, it does make people think, and you're gonna have to make sure you understand what the underlying technology is.
Yeah.
We're talking about all these different cryptocurrencies, but with the exception of Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Litecoin, I mean, those are more of, again, a store of value. Some of these, I think Ethereum can be a store of value too, because it will always be there. It's probably the number one provider for solutions in the space.
Yeah. Up 11% today. It's massive.
I think Augur's a good one. Augur is number 40 on CoinMarketCap right now.
Okay, what do they do? AUGUR.
Yep, it's Augur combines and I'm reading from their website, the prediction or the magic of the prediction markets with the power of a decentralized network to create a stunningly actual forecasting tool.
What are they trying to forecast?
I mean, man, you can really do anything you want. It's a predictions market on the blockchain, essentially.
Okay.
Is it?
Are they trying to predict financials or
everything?
The weather,
everything,
all of it.
Yeah.
So they're working on creating a predictional model for just about anything.
Yeah, and I think it will get tailored to a certain. Now, I'm not gonna say. Okay, I'm not gonna say. Is it gonna rain tomorrow in Nashville? You go to Augur, and who's gonna take that bet? Is there someone out there who may take that bet?
Sure.
But I think with regulation, and again, I'm not deeply close with this group, but I'm sure they have eternally. We're not going down this road, and we will allow for this to happen.
Yeah.
You just have to read their white paper and. There are different channels where they're releasing, updates as to what they allow for, what they don't allow for, user agreements, things like that.
Okay. In your opinion, what's the best crypto literal currency? Meaning, if I wanted to exchange value but use it as a method of utilization of purchasing, it's no longer Bitcoin. Would it be Ethereum, Litecoin, Dash right now, Bitcoin Cash? I mean, because we're talking, you have to factor in volatility a little bit into this.
Yes.
So
volatility and speed.
And exactly, speed and transaction costs. Which one?
So you see a LightPay just came out?
Yeah. That was big for Litecoin.
That was big.
Very big.
I also heard Facebook might be announcing something with, I don't know exactly which currency they were talking about. Bitcoin Cash may be able to execute on that in the future. I don't know. To be honest, Jeremy, I don't think we've seen it yet. I don't think we've seen the blockchain with the cryptocurrency associated with it that executes on thousands and hundreds of Some people say Ripple. Ripple's more of a banking blockchain. But for everyday consumers just to go to the grocery store and gas and all that, imagine if 90% of the United States consumers put away their credit card and used a card that's associated with the cryptocurrency. Think of the amount of volume that network would need to be able to handle in any given day.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been created yet.
Yeah.
I think we'll see it in the next 2 to 3 years.
Well, I think they said Visa. Can't Visa handle like their payment processing system? Visa can handle I think like 100,000 a minute.
Yeah, Visa's insane. But again, it's centralized, and there's single points of failure.
Yeah.
And you look at the Target hacks and the Home Depot hacks where you're losing. Now, am I saying that's Visa's fault? No, I'm not. But there's single points of failure in these systems, and they take 3 to 5 business days. Hey, guess what? Bitcoin is a good cryptocurrency transaction because even though my transaction isn't clearing within seconds or minutes, guess what? It's clearing faster than I would if it was in my bank account.
Yeah.
I just have to wait 3 hours. Okay, hey, guess what? My transaction cleared. Like if I'm using my wallet card, so my Shift card that's associated with my Coinbase address, I go swipe it. Mine happens immediately.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin's still faster than the old outdated banking system.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I don't think we've seen that cryptocurrency that's going to execute on that. I think we're close, but you look at the markets. There needs to be solutions, and maybe it is one that I'm just missing right now because they haven't developed anything. But that's why you read cryptocurrency news.
Right.
That's why you talk to these people. Source your information, make an educated decision. I don't have the answers, and I'm certainly not an investment. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you which coin to invest in or put your capital in. But there's solutions to be had here. It's just we got to start seeing them.
Yeah. Folks, that was the longest podcast yet for the IR4 podcast, but we knew it was going to be a long one. We talked about it in advance. We had a lot of things we want to get off our chest and talk about, and it's been truly an exceptional honor and privilege to have you all watching this particular episode from all those around the world. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, love, live, learn. You guys rock. We'll see you later. Bye.